right, still a lot of volatility in the global oil market. We're seeing prices recover today, but yesterday we had big drop in the market. Joining me now for this conversation is Desola Simone, Senior Analyst, Financial Derivatives Company. Desola, great to have you. Morning.
Good morning, Ladi. Thank you for having me on the show.
So, Desola, I'm seeing a lot happening in this oil market, and definitely the Saudi prince did say when oil was reaching or nearing about $60 per barrel, he did say that shorters will be ouching in this market. We saw Brent it did get to $95 per barrel, but there was all that talk about $100 oil, but it looks like that's off the books at this time. What are you seeing?
Indeed, lad. Thank you for your question. Like you mentioned, the global oil market is very volatile at the moment. Last week, we saw oil flirting with $100 a barrel, and even Goldman Sachs and some other analysts were forecasting $150 per barrel. And only yesterday, we saw it decline quite sharply by the largest decline in a day, $5 per barrel for Brent, or around 5.6%, mainly due to expectations or concerns about demand growth. We saw weak U.S. services data earlier this week. We also saw, comments from the U.S. Fed Chair Jay Powell saying that, they are likely to keep interest rates higher for longer, and this, created concerns about economic growth globally, about cost of credit, economic growth, and then the impact of that on oil demand growth. We also saw the dollar strengthen to 9-month high, which made the dollar-denominated commodities like oil more expensive to holders of other currencies. We're also seeing a sharp build-up in gasoline stockpiles in the U.S. Data from Energy Information Administration showed that gasoline stockpiles last week, we saw a surprise build-up by around 6.8 million barrels, compared to the week before, where we saw a slight buildup of just 1 million barrels in a day. So those are some of the factors that are affecting oil at the moment. But on the supply side, like you mentioned in the meeting by OPEC Plus yesterday, they agreed to keep the production arrangements, the production cut arrangements on up until the end of the year. We're also seeing, in addition to that, we are seeing Saudi Arabia also maintain their voluntary production cut of around 1 million barrels a day, as well as Russia. So even though prices are still volatile, I think OPEC is trying to keep the market tight with their production cuts and the additional voluntary production cuts by Saudi Arabia and Russia. And I think even though we see some volatility, we see some technical trading and some shorting, I think prices will still likely remain elevated in the near term.
Yeah, Desola, what would you say is the best trading strategy now? Is it time for the shorters to come and shine in this market?
The thing with shorting now in the volatile market is, while there's big opportunities for rewards, to make a quick buck, there's also big opportunities for risk. And because Saudi Arabia is the de facto leader of OPEC, they have such room to drive the market. They could review the market again in December and say, I think we're going to increase our voluntary production cut by around 2 million barrels in a day, and that's that would further tighten the market.
All right, talk to me about the global grains market. Now we're seeing wheat prices, rising, but other grains are kind of dropping. What's driving sentiment at this time?
I'll say in economics, we say something about market power, which is simply the ability of a firm or an economic agent to affect prices. In the wheat market at the moment, Russia is a market leader, and they have significant market power. And what we are seeing is a bountiful harvest coming out of Russia, in addition to plentiful stockpiles. And Russia also is exporting big volumes, and that is kind of depressing wheat prices globally. At the same time, we are seeing attacks on grain infrastructure in Ukraine. So while Ukraine is losing exports, is not able to export as much as they can, Russia is pretty much flooding the market. Now, in addition to that, there are rumors that Russia is trying to impose a price, what's the word now? a price floor, which essentially is selling wheat a higher than the market price. And although it is rumored, and obviously Russia is not going to confirm this, but there are rumors that Russia is trying to set a price floor because of the farmers in the country are complaining that their incomes are being eroded due to the low price of grains globally. But I think it is also positive in the sense that compared to around this time last year, prices have declined by around 50% per bushel for wheat. But also in terms of inflation in developed countries as well as in developing countries is positive because wheat is a big portion, is a big component of the food basket. So it is positive for the fight for inflation and the interest rate cycle. It is also positive for food security because many developing countries import wheat from Russia or from the global commodities market, and with the prices nearing the price is 50% low compared to this time last year, I think overall it is positive.
Right, yeah, seeing those grain prices come down does play into the inflation story, helping us drive that down because food inflation is really high right now here in Nigeria. But thank you so much, Desola Simoni, Senior Analyst, Financial Derivatives Company. Always great having your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.